We walk down the steps of the main building into an empty courtyard, all of the vehicles gone. I frown. They just left us without any transportation? Oh yes, I told them to go on ahead. Great idea. Totally not going to need a way to get out of this situation quickly at some point, I'm sure. Oh, why? Do you not wish to walk? Isn't it a little too far to walk? I follow Amicus down the steps and through the university's gardens before we're back in the forest, walking in the direction away from the palace. Not really. The city and palace are within reasonable walking distance. I walk alongside the wolf, feeling myself relax again as we're surrounded by the quiet forest. I guess I just assumed it was far since we're always using the carriage. We tend to be lazy. That, and it's expected by the citizens as it's seen as more dignified, I suppose. Well, what about security? Shouldn't you have some protection as Emperor? I look around feeling almost vulnerable out here in the open with Amicus, used to always having the protection of the palace walls around us. Amicus glances up and I follow his gaze, immediately spotting the blinking lights of drones above us. Drones are far better than any sapient when it comes to security. Amicus looks over at me. I suppose you haven't been outside the palace very often at all, have you? Not really. The wolf grimaces. I apologize for that. I know it seems like you should be more free to travel after what happened, but the people are... Amicus takes a moment to find his words. Very curious about you. It would be difficult to keep them from crowding. I raise an eyebrow as I see lights in the distance twinkling through the tree branches. But we're heading to the city right now, aren't we? I don't think I can deal with crowds, at least not now when I'm not really prepared for it. Well, I cleared the district for our arrival, though that was supposed to be, I'd say, 5 hours ago. But still, it's late enough that the streets should be mostly empty. Oh. I'll draw closer to Amicus. Where are we going? You'll see. There's a sly smile on the wolf's face as we trudge along the path, walking in comfortable silence. Eventually, we break through the trees and into the small, quaint street that I'd been on before. Sure enough, it's completely empty, aside from 1 or 2 figures moving up the sidewalk or standing in a doorway. I noticed then that Amicus is becoming more excited, and it shows in his widening strides, and I have to hurry to keep up. I try to think of where he could be possibly taking me. Amicus. The wolf pauses, waiting for me to catch up, then places his paw against the small of my back, and I'm suddenly thrust forward at his speed, forcing along in a stumbling gait. Whoa! Come on, it's right here! The wolf sweeps me under a dark archway. There's a door in front of us, the soft glow of light barely showing through the frosted glass framing the door. Looks like it's closed, and I look up at Amicus in question, but the wolf doesn't seem bothered and simply knocks on the door. We wait for a few moments, and Amicus leans forward toward the crack, quickly talking loudly through it. Hello, Gaius! Something beyond the door blots out the light, and Amicus steps back before suddenly drawing me to his side, as if preparing to introduce me to someone. I stand there awkwardly, trying to prepare myself for whatever this is. When the door opens, it's not what I expect at all. An old she-wolf in an apron, and with a cloth tied over the top of her head, peers through the door, cracked open just enough so that her muzzle can fit through. I feel Amicus shift next to me as he forces a smile even bigger. Hello! The old woman squints. Hello? Amicus is quiet for a moment, clearly taken aback by the other wolf's lack of reaction. He clears his throat. I am Amicus, your emperor, and this is William, my companion. That's a new title. I look at the wolf in question, but he goes on staring at the she-wolf, who only continues to stare back at them. Maybe you're familiar? No, I don't think so. Amicus stares, his mouth gaping open while the woman starts to close the door. Quickly, Amicus lets go of me to reach out, stopping the door from closing just by an inch. Excuse me, please, but could you summon Gaius? You know who I am? The old wolf sticks her muzzle back through the crack, glaring now.
Gaius was relieved of his shift 3 hours ago. You know it's the 2nd hour.
I had suspected, though I had hoped you would have waited for me.
You thought wrong, dear.
Amicus bristles. Excuse me, but you realize you're speaking to your emperor, woman? Now I bristle. Even though I don't know what's going on exactly, I do feel a little surge of disappointment at seeing my lover use the "do you know who I am" line. Amicus. Just say it under my breath so the older wolf doesn't hear. What? I'm just trying. The door starts to close again, and Amicus quickly reaches out, but this time the old woman is ready. She reaches out to smack his paw hard, making Amicus gasp in surprise before the door slams shut. How dare! Amicus looks at a loss for a moment, as if he's never experienced something like this before and doesn't know what to do. Then he tries to open the door, but it's locked. He then resorts to pounding on the door with a heavy fist, lips drawn back to show his teeth. Open the damn door! I was promised a special banquet in a human's honor! Do you hear me, woman? Oh, God, you're drawing attention to yourself. Reach out, pushing a hand against Amicus' chest. Holy shit, Amicus, stop! I said I'm under my breath, looking around, not having expected to be embarrassed at Amicus' behavior. I was used to embarrassing myself. What? Do you hear yourself? What do you mean? I paid for those services and had everything planned. We're 5 hours late. But I'm the emperor, and you're my guest, and that woman! I step closer, cutting Amicus off, even as I lower my voice, surprised at the sudden surge of anger I'm feeling. Amicus, you're acting like a spoiled brat right now, just like Cassius, and stop calling her woman. Amicus' indignant demeanor seems to deflate a little bit at that. I'm not acting like him at all. What else should I call her? She is a woman. It's the way you're saying it, and I don't know, maybe ma'am would be a good start. Well, she's certainly not acting like a madam. This is how you act when you don't get your way. Amicus always had an entitled streak. I mean, I know it's kind of what got me into the situation in the first place, but I thought he'd have changed a bit after everything we'd been through. Especially for something as small as this. Amicus must see the disappointment in my face because he deflates further, blowing out a breath that rolls back in my hair and smells vaguely of lavender. No, I don't, I promise. It's just I had something very special planned, and... Amicus looks back at the door, trying to see me through the frosted glass, as if wondering... as if whoever he's looking for will magically appear. Amicus, you can't expect anyone to wait 5 hours for you, whether you're emperor or not. Bad line. Bad line. You're supposed to be waiting 12 years for him, aren't you? I think. Except me, of course. There you go. Yeah. I see the moment Amicus gives up on his grand plan, whenever it was, as his deflation completes in a slouch, and suddenly he looks very, very tired. You okay? Yes, I'm fine. Let's just head back to the palace. Maybe we could go someplace else? I wouldn't mind finding a hole in the wall that's open late. Amicus is already walking back up the road toward the forest, shaking his head. I would rather we reserve the location ahead of time so that I can ensure your safety. It's too late for that tonight. I follow Amicus at a slight distance, feeling generally disappointed and baffled over what had just happened. While I'm still feeling somewhat stunned by Amicus's behavior, I also feel bad, because it's clear he really wanted to make tonight special, and to see him so defeated. I catch up to him and walk alongside the wolf just as we pass under the cover of the many branches, our path lit by firefly-like insects floating around us. Well, we could do something at the palace. Maybe have a picnic? Amicus heaves a heavy sigh. Honestly, William, I'm a bit tired. And it's not even Lover's Day anymore anyway. The wolf says the last bit so quietly I can barely catch it. And just like that, my attempts to keep my own mood light give in and I sour instantly. Well, if your goal is to ruin the rest of the night, you're doing a damn good job of it. Suddenly we're having one of our old fights again. The way we would feed off each other's negativity and spiral into a shared mood of sulk. Usually I'd be the one to start it, but this time I feel like Amicus is the clear culprit. I stare at the ground, frowning, even though I feel Amicus's eyes on me. It takes me a few moments to realize he's stopped walking. I stop too, then turn around to look back at him. We regard each other for a moment, then Amicus takes a deep breath. I realize that I'm acting like a spoiled pup, and I do apologize. I do not want this to ruin the rest of the night, even though there's not much left of it. I stand there, not saying anything because it looks like Amicus wants to say more. I promise you, I do not often act in such a way in front of my subjects. I just so desperately wanted for something to go right after everything that happened. Not often? I raise an eyebrow, but smirk at the same time, wanting to show Amicus that I'm willing to lighten up as well. I mean, never, really. I've never used such words to get my way during all of my emperorship, and it was only because it was for you. I sigh. Well, please don't ever feel the need to act that way on my behalf again. Especially if you're yelling at an old lady and calling her woman. I still do not see the problem with that. She is a woman. Amicus starts walking in. I walk alongside him. And like I said, it's the way you were saying it. Like it was an insult somehow. I did not mean it that way. I mean, I kind of feel like you did. But I get it. You're raised in this society. And Amicus huffs out a sigh. Yes, I know. But I've been doing a lot to progress the rights of women in this society. Just yesterday, I put into motion legislation that would allow females to request a divorce before a court. And they couldn't before? Well, no, the husband had to. Wow. God, are you humans going to be like the Cavians, shocked and disgusted by every aspect of our society? I shrug. I mean, some definitely will be. Do you not have your own problems? I laugh. Oh, yeah, we do. We definitely do. But, and I'm sure you'll be beyond shocked by some of the things we've done to ourselves. Like? I close my eyes, shaking my head. I'll let the diplomats reveal that to you. But yeah, most places on Earth still have problems when it comes to equality. A lot of problems. Nice job not calling out anyone specifically. Apolitical. Staying apolitical. And why do you judge me so harshly? Because I know you can do better. I know you have the power to create immediate change. Technically, but realistically, I know it's a slow process. But you know, where you found me, Italy, it's doing alright with equality. A lot of Europe is doing great. So I know Adastra can be better. Things go quiet for a moment, that tangent feeling a little strange. Like there's more to it than just gender equality. Amicus senses it too, of course. While I know that the parents, through whatever space wizardry they possess, brought us together due to perfect compatibility, sometimes I wonder about their measurements, because in some instances, we do feel worlds apart. I look at Amicus, the statement making me feel a little sad. Well, I guess we really are. But I love it. I love that about you. You open my eyes. You surprise me. And I've accepted the fact that you come from a better functioning society. I'm willing to learn. I look down, feeling a little embarrassed. Well, humans have a lot to learn. We're kind of a disaster too. Then let us learn together. But back to what I was saying previously. William, we're running out of time. And I need to do something with you. I feel like I missed that tonight. I feel my chest twinge a bit at that. We still have time. I suppose. It's quiet again. And though things aren't fully relaxed again, most of the tension has left the air. After a few more minutes of walking, simply enjoying the cool night air, I clear my throat. So, what was that whole restaurant thing about? Amicus chuckles, kicking a rock with a big foot paw, sending it tumbling up the path to clack loudly against the rocks of a tree. I had decided to get a head start on human integration into the Galaxias, even though the citizens won't know it. How so? Well, a cultural staple for all species is oftentimes their food. Yeah, I have an idea where this is going, but I don't know how it's possible. So, I've established a human cuisine restaurant. Oh, really? Yes. But, how? Com analyzed and stored a fragment of the data from your nexus back on Earth. Though not all the ingredients are the same, we substituted as best as we could and developed food that is, in my opinion, rather authentic. Huh. Well, you know, there's a lot of food from different cultures on Earth, so a lot of different types of food. Oh, I kept it all in Italy, at least for now. In fact, our first item was Neapolitan pizza. Amicus suddenly heavenly, Jesus. Amicus's suddenly heavily accented voice startles me a little bit, as it always does. The wolf chewing around the words like he's actually eating it. Wow. So, as you would expect, I wanted to try all of the items to let us know how we did. Amicus, I wanted you to try all of them. Okay, I was gonna say, yeah. Amicus is talking about all of this like the restaurant was his own project, something he's been working on it for a long time. I thought it would be a fun distraction for you, but as you know, things did not go as planned. It would have been fun, and I'm disappointed that we didn't get to do it together. But the thought alone of what Amicus had planned for me is enough to warm my chest, and I leaned against him. Well, thank you anyway, and I mean it. Amicus huffs and slides his arm around my side, rubbing my shoulder vigorously. Well, we'll do it again. We'll do it sometime soon. We can't open it without you giving your approval first. Oh, I didn't know it would all depend on me. Of course! The restaurant is named in your honor, after all. Oh, God, really? Really? I feel myself blushing at the thought of my name on a restaurant. It's embarrassing for some reason, but also incredibly sweet. And I think we should have that picnic. Nothing like a third-hour dinner in the moonlight. You sure? You look pretty tired. I live. Amicus lets me go after a moment, and as he does, I slide my hand down against his paw, taking hold of it. We don't hold hands often, mainly because it's something the wolves just don't really do. But nothing about it feels strange or out of place as we walk down the path, hand in paw, with only the glow of the moon and the firebugs to guide us. There's an eerie edge to it all, and while I might have been a little nervous if I were alone, I don't feel that way with Amicus. I feel any of that with Amicus. Or the drones protecting you against anyone or anything that might come out at you. It does make me think back, though, of what happened in the university. Amicus? What do you know about the other? Why do you ask me about that? I shrug. I don't know. I've had it explained to me a few times, but I still don't really understand it. You don't need to worry about it. I look up at Amicus, glaring. Are you serious? I'm not saying that to exclude you. It is honestly something that you do not need to fret over. It's thousands of years away, something you will never see. They pin their head back down to the ground, frowning. Are you alright? I don't know. Doesn't it already sort of have a presence around us? How much has that jackal been telling you? I swear. Hey, he's the only one that's been telling me anything about it. What else do I have to go on? Listen, William, all that is known for certain is that it exists, and that it is a threat. The rest of the stories are pseudoscience. Amicus, when I was in the university, I heard voices telling me what might happen to us. What? I take a deep breath, deciding that I trust Amicus enough to tell him this, no matter how crazy it is. When I finish, Amicus is quieted for a moment. So, am I just crazy? No, and I don't doubt you at all. Would you be offended if I offered the idea that it could very well have been a dream? No, it probably was. It just worried me. As it should have. It sounds very frightening. Amicus pulls me against his side again. But I'm very happy you told me. And I hope you'll tell me if you experience anything else. After what we've been through, I think we should be open to all possibilities. Yeah. Just being able to talk to Amicus about it has made me feel better that Amicus is taking this seriously, even though it's very likely was a dream. But in the very, very unlikely event that it was the other, then the stories would indicate that it doesn't think on its own, and it simply works with what it has in your mind. It projects your own worries into your reality. But even then, it can't hurt you in such a weak state. And that's assuming that its remnants really do exist in the first place. Well, I'm glad the palace isn't haunted. Well, having lived there all my life, I can guarantee you that is the case. I've never seen anything unexplainable there. This forest, on the other hand... What? Well, some say a creature called the Simiobor lives within the forest surrounding the city. Oh, yeah? Amicus sees my smile. Oh, yes. It's actually thought to be a primate of some sort, and climbs and jumps from tree to tree. It's completely black, and its face is on the opposite side of its head, so that its red glowing eyes can stare at you while it clings to the branches. You can tell Amicus is trying to scare me, and even though I feel a little creeped out, his own presence is making it almost impossible to feel scared. Yeah, and you've seen it? I've heard strange noises, and maybe movement in the trees while out hunting before. Yeah, alright. He smirks at me as we continue walking, and even though I know he's teasing me, I still feel that prickle of paranoia on the back of my neck. I distract myself by telling Amicus about our own primate cryptids back on Earth. Despite the bad start to our Lover's Day, I find myself happy just being able to have this strange conversation with my wolf. It is a strange conversation. I gotta hand it to this game. The updates are fucking long. Com sends out our food, mostly leftovers from our dinner that we'd missed, out to us in a floating basket as Amicus prepares the sightseer. We board, and soon enough we're heading out toward the island, the one that I haven't been to since I followed Alex there with Neferu. Being so late at night, or rather early in the morning, was refreshing compared to the humid mornings and afternoons. Amicus is clearly enjoying it, his elbows on the railing of our craft, leaning back, head tilted up toward the sky, a slight smile on his face. His fur whips around gently on his face and torso, and that single fang that always pokes out under his lip glints softly under the light of the celestial bodies above us. He looks so peaceful, something he deserves more than anything. So I savor the moment, trying to capture this image perfectly in my mind, knowing that not so long from now, I'll want to be able to look back on this when I'm out on my own. I bite my lip and blink back the small thread of tears just in time before Amicus's eyes open again. Despite everything seemingly getting in our way, we will have to travel for a few weeks together before you might leave. Oh? For what? For you to get a tour of the moon. And also for us to pick up Cassius from the final city of his destination. It will give you an opportunity to see more of Adastra so that you better understand the moon. Amicus winks. And it has been decreed by the parents. So there's no getting out of it. Don't I know it? I feel both happiness at the idea of having some guaranteed time with Amicus, while also feeling that pang of resentment at the thought of the parents making it happen. Our craft pushes up onto the beach, and Amicus hops out before reaching out a paw to help me down onto the sand, even though he doesn't have to. I bring the blanket while Amicus carries the basket, and we set things out in roughly the same spot we did all those months ago in my first weeks here. Only months. It feels like years. As we set out the food, I do kind of wish we had Neapolitan pizza, as I see the usual bread, cheese, olives, and poultry, along with the various vegetables I've never been able to identify. Still, it's good enough, and I'm just happy to lounge next to Amicus while we eat. Again, it's in that comfortable silence that I always enjoy with my wolf. Silence that doesn't have to be filled with anything except the crowd, the sounds of chewing, and which mostly came from Amicus. After a while, though, he breaks the silence with something that almost makes me choke on my Virdi. So, how do humans get married? You present a ring, correct? I cough loudly for a second while Amicus stares. Are you alright? What do you mean by that? I stare at Amicus, then look around, trying to spot something that might tell me what the wolf is up to. I'm just curious. That's what you said when you asked about dating. Oh, yes. Are you suspecting that I might ask for your paw in marriage? Even though Amicus is grinning teasingly, I can tell that he's blushing even under the moonlight. You didn't think asking me something like that would make me suspicious? Well, I don't know. It's an interesting topic that's never been brought up. Two males cannot be married anyway, let alone ones from different species. I feel myself calm down a little, not sure how I would have reacted if Amicus had just whipped out a ring then and there. Amicus is still looking at me, expecting an answer. I swallow and then think, I guess you just propose to the person you want to marry, then you go to the courthouse, sign some papers, and it's official, I think. I don't know, I've never been married. And in some places, males can marry other males, correct? I narrow my eyes. How would you know that? Again, I've spent some time with your Nexus. It's only fair I do, considering you've been spending so much of your own time learning about Adastra. I'm trying to see why Amicus might have been so busy these past few months, starting up his own restaurant, learning human culture. Well, you're right. There are a lot of places on Earth where you can marry the same sex. Amicus looks off into the lake. That does sound rather nice. What about Italy? I glance at Amicus, noticing the interest he's been taking in the country he abducted me from. I suppose it's a place for him to look for inspiration, a vision of what Adastra could be, which makes sense. It's the location of the uplift, of course, but it also has the turbulent history and politics that have always been raucous and unpredictable. But considering where the country started and where it is now, Amicus wouldn't be wrong to find inspiration there. Again, Amicus is waiting for his answer, and I have to think back to what little I researched about the topic. Sort of. I think civil unions are a thing, which is pretty close to marriage, but not really. If you marry someone from an EU country, you can. Really, is how Amicus might have no idea what I'm talking about, even though he seems to be listening intently. Anyway, yeah, sort of civil unions. Mostly marriage, but not really marriage. I think it'll happen there soon, though. Sounds complicated. Yeah, it gets really complicated. Amicus is still looking out at the lake. You want to swim? I blink. No, the water will be freezing. So I don't want to die of hypothermia? Amicus guffaws. You really are a pup. It's not that cold. I roll my eyes, feeling a little whiplash from the sudden change in conversation. Then I yelp in surprise as I feel myself get swooped up from the ground, easily held up in Amicus' strong paws. Hey! I'll show you. What? I struggle in the wolf's grasp, very much not in the mood to be dunked in freezing cold water. Amicus' strength can't be matched by me, though, and the waves get louder as the wolf walks closer to the water's edge. Amicus, my robe! Realizing that a dip in the lake is inevitable, I start to try to struggle out of my garment, but at that moment I'm suddenly set back down on my feet. Dazed, I stumble. Right to the water's edge, where the waves are crawling up the sand just a few inches from my feet. The lake stretches out to my right, dark and expansive, the blackness broken by the shimmers of silver light reflecting off the rippling water. It takes me a while to finally focus on Amicus. It's because he's kneeling on the beach, reaching up toward me with both paws, and what I see is definitely a ring held between the pads of his fingers. I stare. Amicus clears his throat, his bravado from just a minute ago having quickly faded, replaced by a look he'd once worn when he offered me a bouquet of flowers in the gardens. Will you be my husband? Wow, we're just doing that today? Okay. I continue to stare. Amicus stares back, clearly trying to keep a confident look on his face. After a few more seconds, it fails. I know what I'm doing this time. I should research it. I know what this means. He stubbornly holds up the ring. Now I get a good look at it, and I'm not sure if it's just reflecting the sky, but the ring appears to be a dark, dark blue with tiny speckles of sparkling stones dotting the rim, just like the stars above. A thin stripe of silver wraps all the way around the band, straight down the middle. But you said males couldn't marry each other. I mumble that out stupidly, not sure why that's a thing. The first thing that comes to mind. Amicus ducks his head slightly. No, but I'm the Emperor, and I know that might sound bad after what happened earlier, but I want this. So I will have it. Amicus looks back up and with a determined expression. That is, if you will have it as well. I'm frozen. That determined expression melts away once again, and Amicus looks like he's about to panic. 8 years, William. That is too long. We need something to bind us together, to always remember to have something when we reunite. A few more moments of silence. I see Amicus's paws faltering, starting to pull back, and that's what finally gets my stupid brain to force me to move, reaching down to gently touch the ring. Yes, of course. Because his ears perk up. Yes? I will marry you, of course. I laugh now through the last words, not even sure what I'm doing right now. Yes! Amicus hops to his feet, fist in the air, as if he just won kind of sports competition. Nice, good words. Before I can say anything else, he's crushing the air from my lungs with the force of a hug that he pulls me into, pressing his muzzle against my lips. When he pulls back, he adds another kiss, this one of a canine-style lick up the side of my face. Ah! Flinch back, surprised by the gesture. It's a juvenile show of affection, something a pup would do, and something Amicus has never done to me before. He looks happier than I've seen him in months. William, I'm going to be the best husband there ever was. I love you. He pulls me against his body again, more gently this time, looking into my eyes. Though I know that marriages on Adastra are more pragmatic, it seems that Amicus has, for the most part, educated himself on the more emotional, romantic meaning it holds on Earth. The wolf takes my hand in his much bigger paw, drawing it up between us so that he can slide the ring on. Amicus chuckles as it's clear that it's much, much too big. At least twice the width of my finger. I'll have to have it fitted, of course. I simply wanted it to be a complete surprise. It worked! I was worried when you didn't assume the usual position I examined, and the images Com showed me of the human proposal. Position? The male's on one knee, and the female does this. Amicus assumes the look of surprise, both paws up to his muzzle. Like a YouTube thumbnail. Fucking... I'm laughing as I hold the ring out to the moonlight, examining the tiny speckles of sparkling stone embedded in the dark blue metal. I also thought a stretch ring would be the most appropriate. A stretch ring? Louise reaches out, taking the ring from my fingers and holds it up between us. It symbolizes space and the stars, of course, but this... Angus points a blunt claw at the thin strip of silver running around the middle of the band. This symbolizes the connection between those who are long distances apart. Yeah? Yes. Some believe that the shape of our universe is spherical. Amicus sees my furrowed brows. Hey, I think that's a new expression, guys. That might be. I don't know. I don't know if I've seen that one before. Think of it like this. If I walk in that direction, Amicus points out across the lake, in a straight line for many months, eventually I will end up right back here, next to you. So, there is a belief that the universe could hold a similar shape, a sphere that is expanding. And this ring, Amicus spins the ring around, showing me the silver circle, reminds us that even if we are moving apart on the stretch drive, we are still moving toward each other in a straight line, which is the fastest way to get somewhere. A touch convoluted, I know, and somewhat unlikely, but it can be a comforting thought. I like to think of it as being connected by fate. Yes, we will be far apart, but there is an invisible thread connecting us that cannot be broken and will soon draw us back together. I cut the wolf off as I hug him, pressing my face into his chest, the bittersweet sadness I'd been feeling for many months coming to the surface all at once. Amicus holds me quietly as we stand there on the beach in silence. I'm happy and sad all at once, and I just want to stay here forever. We make our way back to our room, the sky beginning to lighten with the approaching dawn. Along the way, Amicus starts to get handsy, but by the time we're back at the door, the wolf practically pushes me inside, attacking my neck with licks. Oh no. Am I gonna have to get sensory all up in here? I cringe and laugh at the ticklishness of it, trying to escape until Amicus has me pinned to the wall next to the door. Going somewhere. The wolf starts to take off my robe, and at the same time I start to remove his garments. Yes, and you're coming with me. Oh, well, lead the way then. I grab his... Okay. Okay. Well, you guys know the rules. Can't do this on YouTube. Play the game yourself or watch any of the other versions. But I'm not doing this. I'm not. I've gotten fucked over too many times by this shit doing on YouTube. So I'll see you when this is done, and if there are any important moments throughout the way. Okay, so here's the big takeaway from the sex scene that y'all just missed. Which again, you can experience by playing yourself or going to any of the other playthroughs that are less scared about getting fucked over by YouTube than me. But big difference in this one than most others that I've seen so far is that you have the choice of either going with top or bottom, which, some people really, really want. And, I think it whatever. It makes... They did their best to make it make sense, but it is a total tonal shift from Amicus. So, I don't know. But, so that happened and is described as very romantic. There was a couple of funny lines in there. The art style is just so fucking weird to see doing that, but you know what? It's fine. Happy Lover's Day, William. Happy Lover's Day. This is in the afterglow. I promise I won't ruin the next one, even if that might be 8 years away. Well, it's a lot of time to prepare then. Amicus laughs and leans in to kiss me again. Ba-ba-da-ba. That's the fucking end of it. And that is the end of this particular update. It's the particular update. So, thank you very much for watching these episodes of Adastra. I basically have just given up the pretense of even trying to decide where these episodes should and shouldn't be cut. I just record the entire update and then put in the cuts wherever they seem applicable. So thank you all very much for watching. On the next one, we're getting closer and closer to whether I don't know if we're going to be able to make the choice or not, but getting closer and closer to actually leaving Adastra, which is weird. Thank you all very much for watching. I look forward very much to the next one. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, I have been the trained out professional Dr. Link. You are not, and I will see you